What's good, YouTube? So, on today's video, we're going to be talking about a very, very important topic. And I wish that I would have heard this when I was a younger man because it would have helped me out a lot. So, this is what you need to realize. Be yourself. The advice that is preached by so many people in the masses, that's probably the worst advice that you can receive as a young man. It's some of the worst advice you can possibly receive. And I say that because you need to realize this. If you are 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, you have been fed so much information by society. You've been fed information by the school system and by your parents and by the church and by social media and by your friends. And you take all this information from everybody else, so you don't really know who you are yet. You haven't had a chance to develop yourself yet. So if someone is telling you, oh, be yourself and you'll do great in the world, or be yourself and you'll succeed with women, like, no, nigga, that advice works if you have developed yourself and you know who you are. But if you are a young person who hasn't had a chance to find yourself yet and to develop yourself yet, then that is terrible advice. It's some of the worst advice in the world, specifically when it comes to women. Because nowadays, most young guys, they don't have a strong masculine role model in the household. Most guys don't have that figure. So all that they really have to look to for masculine guidance typically is a mother and some soft, and sometimes if their dad is around, he's typically not a strong masculine man. He's usually getting yelled at by the wife and getting bossed around by the wife, and that's just how it is nowadays. So if you're a young man and that's what you look up to as your masculine role model, then you're going to be exactly like that, and you are going to fail epically with women. So be yourself is absolute shit advice. It's terrible advice. And what you need to do instead is you need to choose yourself. You need to develop yourself. You need to decide who you want to be. You can't, if you are a soft individual and you haven't done anything in your life and you're sitting around all day scrolling through social media and watching pornography and playing video games, that is not yourself. It's not. 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, if we were living in the tribal societies and hunting down animals and fighting other tribes, you would not be how you are today. So who you are as yourself, that's not truly yourself. It's not. So what you need to do is you need to decide who you want to be. That is much better advice for any young man. Don't be yourself. Choose yourself. Design yourself, build yourself. And how you do that is by looking at men in this world who you want to be more like. And it might sound, some guys would call this beta, and they call it, oh, you're being a copycat. Like, dude, the typical person in this world has not achieved shit. Absolutely nothing. So if you can look at the top 0.1% of men in this world and replicate their most admirable qualities and emulate those in your own life, then you will step ahead of everybody else. You will step ahead of everybody else instantaneously. And if you do that for a couple years or a couple months and consistently focus on being like people who you respect and people who you admire, and emulating those same habits in your own life, then you will begin to become more like them. Now, speaking for myself, a couple years back when I was getting bullied by these women and getting my heart broken time and time again, I had people telling me like, oh, just be yourself and it'll be fine. Like, oh, women love a guy who's just completely himself. Like, no, nigga. If yourself is a strong, masculine, confident, ambitious man, sure, they'll love that. But if yourself is a soft, weak, flimsy, unconfident, unambitious man, then why would she want that? Why would the world want that? What value is that going to bring in your life? So I just want to encourage you that if you are going through a stage in your life where you feel lost and people are telling you, oh, just be yourself, whether that's with women or whether that's in the career, or no matter what area of your life that's in, I highly recommend ignoring that advice completely and finding men who you want to become more like, men who are living lives that you would love to be living, men who are portraying values in their lives that you would love to be portraying, men who you want to be more like. Find such men and copy their habits in your own life. Copy their success roadmaps in your own life and watch how you level up. And through that process, you will begin to find yourself. And after you have developed yourself into a stronger man, a more self-assured man, then you can apply the advice of being yourself. At this point in time, I don't need to copy nobody else. I am myself. But the person who I was 5 years ago, that wasn't myself. That was what society had pushed onto me. Only now am I beginning to truly see who myself really is. But if you're just getting started, you don't know who the fuck you are. Nobody knows who they are when they're first brought into this world, because we have so much indoctrination just pushed on us. So go out into the world, find men who you want to be more like, men who are succeeding at the top levels in life, and emulate them. And through that process, you will find yourself. And through that process, you can become a better man, and then you can choose to be yourself. But until you have developed yourself, it's pointless to try to be yourself, because yourself is just what society has pushed onto you. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. Never forget that consistency creates kings. And if you are not consistent in the areas of your life that matter the most to you, then you are not going to see results in your life. Peace out, y'all.